What's going on, people? We are Tottenham TV, and this is it, people. This is literally it. Semi-final, second leg tomorrow in the Arctic Circle. Bodo away, 3-1 up going into the second leg. And Bodo players, Bodo fans, they're all sitting there quietly, well, not so quietly, actually. They're
loudly
confident going into it.
Brash.
Spurs are coming into their home stadium in the Arctic Circle under very, not usual conditions, let's say, particularly for an English side. And you know what? We just got to go and do the business. That's all it comes down to.
Ready for your flight tomorrow?
I'm ready. I'm ready.
Getting the nerves settling in yet?
Excitement? Not yet. The nerves haven't settled in just yet, but I'm sure as soon as I land, I'm going to have to get straight down to that pub and get copious beers down me, because I'll be absolutely shitting it probably.
Yeah, and I hope it doesn't resemble some of the five-a-side Power League games I used to have when I was a teenager, because that's the kind of pitch we're going to be playing on. I've heard some of the Bodo players' dads are going to be linesmen tomorrow for the game, just like Sunday League. But look, the Bodo players are very, very confident in their interviews, and they're being very brash about it's going to be different. It's going to be, it's a different game coming to Bodo. Tottenham's press is not like any average Norwegian side. They're talking the talk, but it's all about walking the walk. It's interesting for them to be so brash. Maybe they're just that confident, but does it come from trying to intimidate Tottenham, trying to kind of win a war of words, or is it a case of they're just that confident? Like, if I was them, I would be quietly confident without giving too much away, but it seems as though they want to put out how confident they are very much. Yeah, look, when you've got a record like they've got, and some big European teams have gone there and crumbled, really. Look at Lazio. It finished 2-0 on the day, but it could have been a lot more. And look, you've got to give them credit for the home form that they have and the home record that they have, particularly in Europe. I know Karabag went there and won, but not many teams go there and win, let's be honest. And we're going to have to be on our A game if we want to go through into this final. I know we've got a two-goal lead, but one early goal for Bodo, one goal for Bodo in the first half, and it's backs against the wall job. That's the reality. Yeah, but we've got to make sure we defend like we did first one, the first leg. We defend like we did there. We defend like we did away at Frankfurt. Frankfurt was also an intimidating place to go. It was a place where they have a great home record as well. And we managed to go there and stem the tide and defend properly and get the job done. And we go away and win 1-0. So we need the same mentality there. It is, but it's not the same kind of game, is it, though? Because Frankfurt, in their plush stadium, big stadium, not exactly. It's hard conditions because of the way the fans are there in Frankfurt. Unbelievable fans, and they make it an intense atmosphere. But this is like going to be something that the players aren't really used to in the Arctic Circle. Very, very cold, 4G pitch. We've already played on a 4G pitch this season, and it didn't go that well for us, did it, against Tamworth, against much lesser opposition. So there is a few worries for me going into this game, and more worries than maybe I had going into Frankfurt, and I was worried going into that game. I think I'm less confident. I was less confident against Frankfurt going through than I am tomorrow, I would say. I agree with you. It comes with different challenges, and it comes with different problems, because that pitch is something that a lot of teams have struggled on, and they're obviously very used to it. And I think historically, as you said, Tamworth was definitely a case we struggled on, albeit tomorrow is going to be a very different team to the one that played against Frankfurt, against Tamworth. Let's be honest, that team against Tamworth was a shocking team, despite the fact that we're playing part-timers. It wasn't a great team out there, so it's going to be a much different team tomorrow. And I remember 10 years ago we played Young Boys longer than that, maybe now 15 years ago we played Young Boys on a plastic pitch, and we very much struggled on that occasion. That was a long time ago. So I understand the concerns, especially with the fact that Bodo have got to this stage due to their home form. That's what's got them to the semi-finals. So I think, the way the tie has gone so far, I think the plan was always keep themselves in the game going into that second leg and then try and blow us away. And I think that goal they scored right at the end basically means it just about went to plan, I would say, for Bodo. For Bodo in that first leg. Maybe, they would have preferred to lose by 1 rather than 2. But the fact they were 3-0 down and the tie was nearly gone and they got that goal back, that will give them so much belief that in the second leg, it's all to play for, because pretty much the same thing happened in the last round. They lost 3-1 to Lazio. I know it was the second leg, but they lost 3-1 away, and they won 2-0 at home, and it could have been a lot more. And a lot of the other legs, it's been like that. So I think when it comes to I can understand why they're confident, but I can understand why they believe that goal has really given them a fighting chance of getting into that final, and the belief will be strong, no doubt about it. And I think that it's not unwarranted, the confidence. But I do also feel like the way that they're talking is almost as if like they didn't get swept aside in that first leg. And I think that first leg, it was not much of a contest, to be honest. And they were lucky it was only they're coming into it 3-1, but they do have that 3-1 score. Credit to them. But I thought it might have humbled them a bit that first leg, but it doesn't seem to. It seems as though they've come into this game, with full belief that this is going to be their moment. And credit to them. Why not if you're in that position? But it's better to do your talking on the pitch, I would say.
Yeah, and let's see if they can do that. And we know that it's going to be a very different team that we've seen from the first leg, because 2 or 3 of their main players were out in the first leg. They're going to be back for this game. They will be pivotal players for them. And I guess that's what they're leaning on, isn't it? And if they wouldn't have scored that goal in the last 10 minutes of the game, I don't think maybe this fighting talk would be as strong as maybe it is now. But look, they're in a European semi-final. They're here on merit. They fully believe that they can do the job. And if I was them, I'd probably be the exact same. I'd probably have full belief in the team, full belief that bringing any team in this competition to your home stadium with the record that they've got, that they can turn them over. They create chance after chance after chance. But it's important for Spurs not to get sucked into all the talk that's going on outside, not to get sucked into everything this Bodo players are saying, not to get sucked into what the narrative is from the fans and everything like that. Just stay in your game, be calm, be resolute defensively like we've been in Europe in the last couple of rounds. And if we are as resolute as we were in Frankfurt, as we were in the first leg, we'll get the job done. That's the reality. So we're the strongest side going into it. We're the heavy favourites to go through to the final. If we lose this game, it will be on us, because we got sucked in to maybe everything surrounding, all the noise surrounding the tie.
Do you think we're going to have to score tomorrow to win?
Yeah, I do actually. I feel like we're going to concede. I do feel like we're going to concede, and you don't want to be 1-0 down going to the last 10 minutes or last 20 minutes. I feel we will score. And I think 1 goal for us is enough to take us through to the final.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I agree. It should be enough. Considering, look, whatever people want to say about us defensively, as pointed out many times when we've had Romero and Van de Ven, our defence has not been bad. Yeah. That's just the facts. We've, if you look at it, I was looking at our record with Van de Ven and Romero in the team this season, and I think it's played 14. I think we've won 8 of those games, drawn 2 and lost 4 of those games. So it's not like the most amazing record, but it's obviously positive. But in terms of defensively, I think it's played 14, conceded 14. So it's much better than, our defensive record overall, which is, I think, in the Premier League, we've conceded 49 or something, or whatever, maybe 50 even now. So it's that's like over a goal a game. And when it's getting close to 2 goals a game, but when it's Romero and Van de Ven, it's 1 goal a game. And if we keep it at that tomorrow, we win. If we keep it to 1 goal, we're in the final, and that's what we need to do. It's going to be interesting to see how we kind of take to the pitch and what kind of setup that we're going to have. Obviously, we know the formation, most likely what it's going to be, but are we going to be a bit more reserved and sit back and try hold on to what we've got, or are we going to do what Ange usually likes to do, maybe not in the European competition, but his style of play is just be a bit all-out attack and go for it from the start and try get that goal early doors? How do you think Spurs are going to kind of navigate this game? Yeah, I think we're gonna play. Well, to be honest, when you look at the first leg, I actually don't think we did do that. I don't think we were gung-ho, and I know we dominated and controlled it and we deservedly won the game, but I don't think it was a case of full pelt, 100 miles an hour, constant pressing, all these different things. Like, if you actually watch a lot of I've seen a bit of the game back, and very much our pressing was like patient. It was picking your moments to press. It wasn't constantly pressing, never like not pressing, never have a moment's rest. It was kind of, the second half, Bodo had 70% possession. Like, we very much controlled that game in a different way in that first leg. And I
think that's right or wrong.
Huh?
I don't know.
Do I think it's right or wrong?
Yeah, the way we managed that first leg.
It was perfect.
Well, it's not perfect because we're only taking a 2-goal lead there. And
It should have been, yeah,
more.
but they had one shot on target and it was a deflection. I think it was near perfect how we approached that first leg. Absolutely. I think it was, maybe we could have gone for the throw a bit more for sure. Who knows though, if we did do that, would we have conceded more chances? And maybe it wouldn't have been even a 2-goal lead, but
we might have scored more goals.
Might have scored more goals, but we might have conceded more. Who knows? But I think if you look at how that first leg went in terms of, first of all, in terms of scoreline was good, but in terms of just how it went in general, in terms of the pattern of the game, I think it was near perfect. I think a bit frustrating that we maybe in the last 10 minutes lost a bit of control and we did concede a goal, but before then it was 3-0 up, could have been more. We didn't concede pretty much a single opportunity, maybe one opportunity the whole game. And we were creating pretty much fairly consistently throughout the game. And especially at 3-0, we had them on the ropes. We had a few moments to make it 4 as well. So I think that was a really good way of approaching it. I think we, if you look at how we were pressing, it wasn't constantly like regardless of the situation, everyone press all the time. There were some moments where we stood off them and waited for our moment and waited for a mistake or waited for a trigger to go and press. And maybe there was evidence there of a adjustment in approach in some senses, which is positive to think about if that is the case. And I think we need to do something similar in Bodo. I think maybe that second half was kind of like a dress rehearsal of how we want to face Bodo going away from home, giving them a bit of possession, waiting for them a bit, and making sure that when we get the ball, we go forward with good. Well, maybe not the first half, but I say maybe not the second half. Sorry, maybe the first half was more how we want to approach it, because the second half maybe we gave them a bit too much possession. But the first half, I thought it was quite even in possession, but I think we did really well when we had the ball and we showed our quality. But we weren't too open defensively, and we had Basuma, Bentancur breaking them up in the middle. And I've said it, Bodo are very, very good with these little quick tiki-taka passes in the middle of the park. And that's how they get the better of you. If you saw the Lazio highlights, they absolutely destroyed them through the middle. They were playing just these little passes on the edge of the box and just getting in there, and they're unbelievable in tight spaces and getting shots off and getting little moments. And that is something that I think we're going to have to do. That's why I think we need Basuma and Bentancur. And the fact, to be honest, the fact that Madison and Bergvall are out kind of is going to force us to do that anyway. Yeah. Because we're not going to have that quality that you probably need to be on the front foot a lot more than we would like to, I would say. We won't have that quality in the middle because we don't have Bergvall or Madison. And those two have been massive parts of our midfield for especially in this Europa League run, but obviously in the second half of the season, I feel.
Look, don't get me wrong, I was happy for the most part of the first leg. I really was, but I just felt like that goal was a sucker punch towards the end. It should have been out of sight by that time came. And, that was due to the way that we did approach the game. But I just felt like as well, like in hindsight, looking at it, I felt like we should have gone for it a bit more. And we could have created a lot more chances than we maybe did. And it was such a big opportunity with the amount of players that they had out, the dominance that we had in the game, for the most part anyway. I just felt like we should have maybe gone for their throats a bit more in the first leg.
Yeah, I would like to. I would like to have killed the game, and we had the game won pretty much. We were 3-0. We could have made it 4. Like, we had it in the time in the palm of our hands. I don't think it was necessarily the approach was the problem. Obviously, that goal came, and it's very frustrating. We conceded that goal. But that was their only shot on target the whole game. Not even chance. It was the only shot on target.
They had a decent opening in the first half as well.
Yeah, but that would have been a great goal, great volley if that goes in as well. But that was, it was, you're talking about 2 chances in a semi-final, that usually you look at yesterday, like how many chances there are from both
but
teams.
yesterday
You know what I mean?
you're talking Barcelona against Inter Milan.
I know.
Today you're talking about Tottenham against Bodo, where Bodo have a horrible away record, and on top of that, they had 3 of their most influential players out. Like you've got to put the game beyond all doubt.
I would like. I mean, preferably you would, and obviously Tottenham fans who have this anxiety about things going wrong. Obviously, we want the game beyond all doubt, and when you had the opportunity to do it, we should have done it 100%. I completely agree with you, but I don't think it means that the approach of the game was wrong. Like I think it was a really good game. For most of that game, it was we didn't concede any chances, if any. Literally, they had 1 shot on target, and then we were the ones creating most of the chances. And at 3-0, we should have gone. We should have made it. We should have killed them off at that point, but we didn't. That was the problem. But I'm saying up until that point, I don't think the approach was wrong at all. I think it was pretty perfect for the tie and how what we were up against, in my opinion. And I think it's just unfortunate we conceded that goal. And look, we only have ourselves to blame. I'm not saying that is. I was happy about that, or it's okay that we conceded that goal. It was a massive blow. Don't get me wrong, but I think that wasn't to do with the approach. By and large, I think it was that one moment that happened. That happens in a game, and there was 3 players around him, and they let him get the shot off in that moment, and it deflects into the back of the net. Like that shouldn't be happening, 100%. But I think in terms of the way we approach the game, we breaking up their play, making sure they weren't building from the back really progressively, creating chances, not giving many chances away. And if we do that away from home, we'll be all right. I think. But I do wonder. Yeah, I do wonder if we're going to go like really pragmatic, or it's just going to be a bit of a more similar to what we did maybe in that first leg.
Yeah, I think it'll be a mistake to go really pragmatic, because I think if you do go really pragmatic like we saw against Liverpool, I know it's not the same quality of side, but if you do that, you kind of like waiting to die a little bit, keep inviting pressure, and I think they will crack at some point. So I want to see us be a bit more on the front foot, be a bit more I think the way we approach the home leg is the right way to approach the away leg. But I feel like the right way to approach the home leg would have been probably to go all-out attack. But look, we're going there with a heavy advantage, 2-goal advantage, so you can't complain too much about it. Bodo, the narrative from Bodo and the way they're thinking is they've got absolutely nothing to lose now. They're 3-1 down. They've got no option but to come at us quite ferociously. And they're going to play a high line. The one big factor here we're going to be missing is James Maddison, because Pedro Porro. We saw Pedro Porro to Maddison in the first leg, and that would have been perfect for us coming into this game, for Maddison to catch out their high line. So we need someone, whether it be a Matisse Tell, whether it be a Richarlison, whether it be a Solanke, probably a Richarlison or a Tell or someone like that can, or a Brennan Johnson, to beat that high line and to get Porro to play those balls over the top, so that they will give them something to think about massively when they press high up the pitch.
Agreed.
That's what we need.
Yeah, for sure. And obviously Sonny as well in these kind of games away from home. He's great for like these high lines and stuff. And unfortunately, he's going to be missing on Thursday, which is, well, I think so anyway. It's not being confirmed, but it looks like he's going to be missing on Thursday. So there's a few definitely weapons in our armory in this cut that would have been perfect for this kind of game. But we still got enough weapons that there's not really an excuse to go out, in all honesty. We should still be able to hurt them, and I do think Tell's getting better. You got Odobed to come on as well. Maybe Mikey Moore's cameo might convince Andrew he deserves a few minutes here. And I think Decky, I want to see more from him. I think he's going to be so crucial. If you think back to like how when we played like City away, how crucial someone like Decky was, holding the ball up and just allowing players to get up the pitch, and all of a sudden we're on a counter, and all of a sudden we're exploiting them. He hasn't done that enough recently, and I think this game he's going to be so crucial. I think in terms of as well, we don't really have other players in that middle who's going to just hold on to the ball and get it forward and look forward, look for passes, and look for ways to break down Bodo. When we've got Bentancur and Basuma, they're just going to play it safe. We know what they're going to do. Like, we need Decky to have an unbelievable game tomorrow.
100%. We need him to get up to the speed very quickly, because we haven't seen him at full flight for a long time now. He's come back from his injury. He's got enough games in his legs now. We need to see him have a top performance out in Norway tomorrow night. As well as with the rest of the team, we just need to have a game for the ages. We just can't give them the hope which they seem to have at the moment. We need to shut them down very quickly in the game. We need to control the game. We need to control the possession. But it's going to be very hard to control the possession there with the way they play. Very hard.
Yeah, and we didn't control the possession that second half in the first leg. That was maybe, we probably gave them a bit too much possession. You can see Ange was on the touchline, wasn't he? Getting a bit frustrated that we were kind of stepping off them and giving them a bit too much encouragement, which, you know, was probably a bad thing in that second half, that we probably was too much. But I still think that we have to survive periods where we do give up the ball. I don't see us going there. There'll be periods where we dominate possession, but I think by and large, Bodo are going to be the ones dominating possession, and we have to handle that. And when we've come up against teams who have dominated possession, a lot of the times it hasn't gone well. I know we've had a few times like City that it went well, and there's a few times that it has, but by and large, we come up against good teams away from home who dominate our possession. We're not very resolute. Maybe that's started to switch recently. Frankfurt was quite a good one away from home. They had a lot of possession and we were able to nullify them. So we have to make sure that we're doing that tomorrow.
It's very important as well to guard against complacency, because we saw, in my opinion, there was a bit of complacency that crept in there in the second half from Spurs. You know, in the first half, I think they couldn't believe how maybe easy it was. 2-0 up, cruising, creating chances. You know, we were doing very well there against this Bodo side. And then I thought a bit did creep in there in the second half. And maybe that is what led to Bodo scoring towards the end. And I just hope that, because we've seen it so many times over the course of this season and last season about complacency, Ange has to drill it into them that this tie is nowhere near won yet. And we need to go there. We need to be at the best we've been all season to get into this final, because they've got such a massive opportunity now. Such a massive opportunity to get to a European final in a very winnable game, whether it be against Athletic Club Bilbao or Manchester United. Obviously looking like Manchester United at the moment. So it's time to rewrite the history books. It really is.
And I think in terms of that question, complacency, I do think that goal we did concede, as much as it's annoying, and obviously I'd much rather have not conceded it, don't get me wrong, it's definitely a massive negative we did. Maybe the one thing that that goal going against us will do is make sure we go there tomorrow without thinking the game is won, and go there defending properly and doing it. Because I think when we went to Frankfurt, because we didn't win that game at home, even though the performance gave us confidence to perform like we did away from home, like, because we knew we had to win, but we had to be very careful about it because we were drawing the tie. It was like everyone was on it. Everyone was focused. And I think maybe that goal that we conceded will mean maybe that everyone will just make sure that they can guard against that complacency and guard against that feeling like you can ever just drop your guard and, oh, we're 3-0 up, you know, we have a 3-goal buffer, I can just drop my guard a bit, or I don't have to be completely focused, I don't have to track that man at the back post, all these kind of things. Well, I think maybe that goal will make sure that everyone is doing their job properly. And obviously it shouldn't need that, but knowing this team, we know that they like to let their guard down. We've seen it many, many times. They do get complacent when they think, how many times we've given up leads and these kind of things. So maybe that's the one good thing that can come from that goal being conceded.
Yeah, I do think any goal in the first half, whether it go to Bodo or whether it go to Tottenham, is extremely important in this game. Because I think if we get that first goal before half time, whenever it may be, you know, I think there's the chances and the percentages of us going through increase dramatically. However, if Bodo are winning 1-0 going into that second half, then we're in for a hell of a second half, aren't we?
Mm-hmm. I think either way, you know, cast your mind back to Zagreb. I think it was when we lost 3-0. We were 2-0 up for the first leg. I think going to the last half an hour, it was 0-0, and we ended up losing 3-0. So you never quite know. You always have to kind of, in these games, you know, these European knockouts can change very, very quickly. Momentum's such a powerful thing, you know. You can think the game is won, and then one goal goes in, and all of a sudden the momentum switches. The fans get on there, and all of a sudden it can be 1-2 in 5 minutes, and then all of a sudden the game's getting away from you. Like, you know, even cast your mind back to like when Barca play. I know it's different, but like Barca played PSG in that famous comeback. Like, I know that was like 1 in a million, but like, that game was like toing and froing. They looked like they were coming back, Barca, and PSG looked like they killed the game off. And going into stoppage time, they needed 3 goals, Barca. and they got 3 goals in stoppage time because it just goes so quickly.
Just look at any of the Champions League games over the last couple of weeks. The Villa PSG game, the Dortmund Barcelona game, the Inter Barcelona game. Over the course of both legs, you know, it just shows you how quickly ties can change.
Exactly.
And that's why we need to be massively on our guard. We need to put in the most professional performance that we've ever put in. And it needs to be 10 times more professional than what we showed in Frankfurt. This is a semi-final. This is a semi-final to go to Bilbao in a European final, somewhere that we haven't been since 2019. This is our biggest game, guys, since 2019. I'm actually just, you know, the more and more we talk about it, the more nervous I'm getting. I swear, like, this Bodo team are no joke, and everyone outside of Tottenham, you know, all the other Premier League clubs and other Premier League fans that I'm speaking of, oh, Spurs are in the final, you're playing Bodo Glimt of Norway, no Norwegian team have ever been in a semi-final of a European competition, you're going to walk this. I mean, we ain't going to walk it. This is going to be an incredibly difficult time.
Well, all they're doing is they're setting us up for failure. That's what they're trying to do. They're trying to give us a full sense of security when we know, we've been following Bodo for a few, well, for this season we've been taking note of them for sure, and especially in the build up to this game and this semi-final we've been doing a lot of research.
I've said it to you literally even before we got not drawn against them, but before we knew we were playing Bodo. I kept telling you, like, do not discount Bodo. This Bodo team are a very good team.
100%. And this is the kind of game that they'll thrive on when they, especially when they know what they need to do. You know, there's no ambiguity here. They need to go there and they need to do what they've done all season, which is go for the throat, attack the opposition and win the game convincingly. And that's what they've been doing many, many times in Europe this season. And I think maybe, you know, last leg they did that at home. And then in the second leg, there were kind of a bit of ambiguity. Do we hold our lead or do we, you know, attack them a bit? And I think that led to them nearly going out. But I think in this situation, they're 3-1 down. They know what they need to do. There's no kind of ambiguity about what they need to do here. They need to go out there and play their football and do what they've been doing all season. And that is a worrying prospect because when they're on their game, they're a phenomenal footballing side. They play some beautiful stuff. You see some of their highlights.
I know.
It's really beautiful football, intricate, one touch, kind of in tight spaces. They got some, even you look at the goal they scored against us. I know I blame the defenders, and rightly so, but the way the guy turned in such a tight space and got the shot off.
He did the exact same thing against Lazio.
Yeah, he scored a double against Lazio, like 2 similar goals. So this guy clearly has twinkle toes. I think his name's Saltness. Like, they've got some really talented players. I'm surprised, by the way, that maybe some of their players haven't been snapped up a bit more.
I think Bodo, you know, I think they sell players every year and they go on to do great things. So
they've got a good academy.
You know, you got to think about Patrick Berg as well. He didn't play in the first leg, and he's supposed to be the most pivotal player that they've got. So there's a lot of players that we need to watch out for in this Bodo side. But look, scrap all that. We are the bigger team going into this. We're 3-1 up. We've got a good commanding lead. We have to go there with confidence as the fan base as well. We need to. Only 400 of us are going to be there in a small little corner in an 8,000-seater stadium, but we got to make our voices heard there as well. So we got to go there full of confidence. We got to go there and stamp our authority, and we got to go there and do the business. That's just what it comes down to. I don't care about the style of play. I don't care how pretty it is. Just make sure you're in that bloody final come the end of tomorrow. Yeah, that's all I care about.
100%. And we are 2 games away from the biggest trophy in our lifetime. That's what we got to focus on. That's got to be the goal. And whatever you want to say about the quality of Bodo and the competition, whatever it is, and all these different things, the manager, where the club's at, we've got to stay singularly focused, single-minded on this goal of winning that trophy in Bilbao. That has got to be what everyone's focus is on right now. There's got to be tunnel vision from the squad, the managers and the fans, tunnel vision on that goal. And tomorrow, we just got to get that job done. We just got to get there by hook or by crook. And then we just got to get that trophy over the line in Bilbao. And that would be it could be special. Something special could happen.
Look, it's going to be a special night tomorrow. I can feel it. I can sense it. And as much as I'm very wary and worried of what Bodo can bring, I am also confident that we will do the job. Well, and we will go through.
If we go out, let's be honest, it'll be so Spursy. That's reality. It'll be so embarrassing. As much as Bodo are a good team, don't get me wrong, they're capable of being
Tottenham
us.
has retired for this season. He's hung up his
in the Europa League.
in
the Europa League.
Dr. Tottenham is gone. He's gone. He's nowhere near.
He doesn't have a passport, Dr.
Exactly.
Tottenham. Passport revoked.
He couldn't afford the flights to Norway. That's the reality, Dr. Tottenham. So we're getting the job done, people, tomorrow night. Whether we win the game, lose the game, or draw the game, we're getting the job done. I'm telling you, we're getting the job done.
What do you think?
I ain't coming back from Norway without a spot in the final. That's for sure.
If it goes to penalties, who you backing?
Tottenham.
Tottenham if it goes to penalties?
Yeah.
The thing is, I kind of feel like if it goes to penalties, I think it's more written for Bodo. I have a feeling that the football gods will be on Bodo's side if it goes to penalties, because I feel like they got through on penalties last round, and they'll feel like if they get to penalties again, I think they'll feel like this is like meant to be kind of thing. That's what
they might feel like that, but it won't happen because Spurs are going to go through. Penalties, extra time, in 90 minutes. I'm telling you, Spurs are going through.
I believe so as well.
It's got to be done. It's got to be done. Score prediction?
I am going to go... Well, I said 2-1 Bodo yesterday. I am going to go 2-2.
2-2. I'm going to stick with the 2-1 Bodo. I think Bodo win the game. I think they're going to bring it to us. They're going to have a good performance, but I think we're just going to about sneak in there into the final. And I don't care. Look, if you offered me a 2-1 defeat right now, I'm taking it.
Of course.
Any way to get into that final, I'm taking. But look, that is our score predictions. That is our preview for the game. And next up, we're going to bring on Jørgen, a Norwegian Bodo fan. Was at the game last week. How you doing, my friend? I think you might be on mute.
Is it our side?
Can you hear me, guys?
Yes, now we can hear you, my friend. Yeah. How are you?
Excellent. I'm very good, thank you.
Is it a very cold day in Bodo right now? What's the weather like?
The weather is quite nice, actually, right now. It's no wind, because in Bodo it always blows from one direction or another. So it's calm, 7 degrees, little drizzle rain in the air. It's quite nice.
Tell me, Jørgen, first of all, casting your mind back to the game, you were in London last week for the first leg.
Yeah.
What was your thoughts around the game, around the Bodo fans in Tottenham? What was the narrative around coming into the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium?
For me, it was massive. It's like I said, I've been a Spurs fan for 35 years. And this whole journey with Bodo Glimt has just been amazing. And walking into the new stadium, because I've been to the White Hart Lane in 2016 when we played Arsenal. That was my first time to London, to White Hart Lane, and seen Tottenham live. But walking into that stadium and the massive reception before the game started was just so overwhelming for a long-time Spurs fan, to be honest. Yeah. So
you're a Tottenham fan and a Bodo fan. Who you been following longer?
Well, like I probably told you guys earlier, but I played for Bodo Glimt my whole youth. With Bodo Glimt is in my blood, in my veins. But if I want to compare it, it's like Bodo Glimt is like family, my blood, but Tottenham is my beloved stepbrother, stepsister, something like that.
I see. Wow.
So I've been following. I was, like I said, I've been for 35 years, but the one who made me his Spurs supporter was Gary Lineker back in '86, and I follow him. And then I remember when I was like 10 years old, I think he signed for Spurs then, and then after that, I became Spurs supporter.
Yeah, there's a massive Spurs following out in Norway, and I saw a few pictures from the Spurs stadium. There was a few fans in Bodo Glimt shirts. Even one had a Tottenham tattoo. I mean, there seems to be a lot of Bodo fans, or a few at least, that support Tottenham.
Yeah, we have a massive following in Norway. Of course, you have Liverpool is the biggest, and then also Manchester United, Arsenal, of course, Boo. But Tottenham have big. Yeah, I think it's like 4th or 5th biggest following in Norway.
So tell me, what can English and Tottenham fans expect by coming to Bodo and travelling to Norway this week?
You can expect a warm welcome. Everybody in Norway is very friendly, and should be no hassle. Of course, it's going to be a little bit colder than in London, but now it's springtime, so it's not so bad. The snow is gone, so I think you're gonna have a good time. But like I said, remember to wear warm clothes and raincoats, because it's going to be rain. There's no roof over the way end, so yeah, just remember that.
Yeah, talk to me about what a massive occasion this is for Bodo, being in a European semi-final, considering the history of the club and the size of the club. Like, what would it do for the city and the town and the team if they were to go all the way in this competition?
I can't even start to, it's so amazingly big. I think we're everybody's just like pinching their arms and saying like, is this really happening? It's like we're living in sort of a virtual reality sort of stuff, because we're not supposed to be here. But it's a fairy tale of the biggest. You could write a movie script about it, I guess, in the end. So of course it is extremely big. But I just feel like everybody walking around and saying like we don't understand what's happening, actually.
Yeah, but it's something like. Do you feel like this is something Bodo have been building towards, because they've had a few decent European campaigns, haven't they, where they've gotten a few unexpected results against bigger teams in the Champions League and in Europa League, and they've obviously people have taken notice of Bodo, I think, over the years. But do you feel like this is a culmination of years of good work, or do you feel like this is just a once in a lifetime kind of thing?
I think in the end that we're here right now is because of the club and the manager and the players have done an extraordinary job over years, working really hard. And it's like I said to some friends of mine, if Tottenham and the board and the whole club was working the same way as the Bodo Glimt does, we definitely win the championship, to be honest. Because that's just the whole thing that Bodo Glimt has reached this far, because we have worked together, the whole club, and I mean the whole club. Everybody is working in the same direction, and it is a whole bigger picture here, if you know what I mean.
Mm. Yeah, I mean, the story of Bodo Glimt is just something quite incredible, because I've been doing a lot of research into them, up and down the leagues for many years. And then in the last 5 years, 4 Norwegian titles, which, the first one was the first one in the history. I mean, how the hell has this happened, Because the story of Bodo Glimt is something that you can liken to if Leicester won the league and carried on winning it for the next, 4 years.
Yeah, even Leicester, I would say, like Wrexham. I mean, it's far. We were like a yo-yo team going up and down the divisions for years, and small attendance of, and it's like nobody expected anything. Okay, we were happy if we get maybe a cup final or even a medal in the league, but expecting to win the league just once. Okay, that was wow, but 4 times, it's like I said, the fairy tale. It never stops. So like 2017, we were in the first division, and now we are 4 times league champions and regulars in Europe. Beating like big teams.
What do you think you being in a semi-final says about Norwegian football in general? Because a lot of people in England probably turn their noses up at Norwegian football, think it's below them. We had another YouTuber who runs a big channel, saying if Bodo were in the Premier League, he thinks they'd be relegated. He thinks, that's the kind of level they're at. Do you think you're proving a lot of people that there is a lot of talent in Norwegian football and it's underrated?
Yeah, but because we had some good players coming through on the international stage. We have Ødegaard, of course, and Haaland, and I feel like there's a little bit more buzz around Norwegian football now than it was like 5-6 years ago, maybe. So they've done a lot of good work on talents and bringing up from the youth systems and selling some good players abroad as well. So I think Norwegian football has definitely gotten I don't know what the English word, but yeah,
Excitement.
we're working very good. Yeah, excitement. Yeah, that's the word. Yeah. So yeah, I believe in the hard work that's been done for many years is showing results right now. And I know it feels concerned about Bodo Glimt, but because we are leading the way for Norwegian football right now, and there's a lot of other clubs in Norway that's looking up to us and seeing the way we have done things. And you got these old clubs like Rosenborg. It was a big team in Norway, if you remember, in the 90s and the 2000s. They have gone down on a slump, you know, but they are working their way up, and they're looking to Bodo Glimt now, see the way they have done the job, you know what I mean.
How much hope did that goal in the last 5 minutes at the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium give the Bodo Glimt fans and the players? Because we're hearing a lot of fighting talk come out from the players after the game, and they're saying, you know what, they don't know what they're in for when they come to Bodo.
Well, it was obviously it was massive to get that goal, because 3-0, it'd be hard to believe it. But yeah, I saw this comment from I think it was Fredrik Sjøvold who said that the Tottenham should have a difficult time at Aspmyra if they're going to do the pressing that they did at Hotspur Stadium. But I don't know. What was the question again? Sorry.
How much hope did that goal give the fans?
For the fans, yeah, big hope, of course. We now see that we might have a chance, actually, but you know, we know that Tottenham is a very, very good side, and although it's not been showing in the league this season, but the European campaign has been very good for Tottenham as well. So, well, I think it's like people feel it's 50-50 chance, to be honest. Yeah, some people really believe, and someone it's going to be very difficult, because it's a Premier League side, of course.
But even if you think it's 50-50, you know, that's still a massive kind of credit to the belief that Bodo have, because you're 2 goals down going into a second leg. Like for the fans to feel it's 50-50, you know, that's massive still. Yeah,
that's just a general feeling I have talking to people, to friends of mine, family and stuff, that they feel like, of course we have a chance, because it's only 2 goals, and we know that at Aspmyra we have beaten some good teams there. We, like I said, back in the 2021, we beat Roma, Jose Mourinho's Roma 6-1 here. But he didn't come prepared at all. You know, we just thought that, we're just going to go up there and get a result. But after that, of course, team have taken more precautions of the way we play and stuff. But you know, we score at least 2 goals, 3 goals the whole European campaign this year. So yeah, we have.
In terms
on the background of that.
Yeah, go on. Yeah. No, in terms of that first leg, though, obviously that last goal did give you a lot of hope. But in terms of how it went in general, did it go as you expected it to go? Were you disappointed in how Bodo performed? What did you make of how it went in terms of the overall game?
And we've seen like the other away games this year that we have had, because it is of course different to play on natural grass compared to our artificial pitch that we used to, and also away these big stadiums. So for my expectations and the people around me, I thought we would be happy if we get away with just a couple of goals, to be honest. But the way we played, we kept the ball, we had a lot of possession, but we didn't get into the final third. So that was probably a little bit disappointing. We didn't create more chances, but in the end, I think we did a good game, to be honest. Yeah.
Yeah, and you know, you mentioned before Jose Mourinho being a bit underprepared when he went to Bodo. Well, Ange Postecoglou as well has suffered the fate of Bodo Glimt before with his Celtic side. So you know that Ange Postecoglou, he won't want to suffer that again, and he'll be as most prepared as any manager can be, right?
Yeah, I think Ange is very, very prepared, and like you said, he's been here with Celtic, and he knows the conditions, he knows the pitch, and I think that he could sell that into the players. But on the other hand, it is artificial pitch, and I don't know. I don't think Tottenham, they don't train that much on it, and
no.
So it is a different ball game. So you can prepare as much as you want, but in the end, it's up to the players and the way they're performing that day. I think they're gonna have put in a lot of work, to be honest.
What do you think the artificial pitch does for Bodo? Why do you think it's such a difference maker?
Well, if you remember in Norway, especially in the northern part of Norway, we only have artificial pitches. We train a lot on them because we can't have regular grass pitches all year around. So from a young stage, we play on artificial pitch, and of course our Bodo Glimt, they train on it every day. It is a different ballgame, the way you run and the way you press. It just start, stop, finishing. Running. It's quite different from playing on grass. So you get maybe 5, 10, 15% advantage playing on artificial if you're not used to it, I think.
Yeah, and a Bodo player said after the game as well, it's going to be heavy on the knees, heavy on the back for the Spurs players, and he hopes that the Spurs players by the end of the game will feel very old playing on that pitch. Let's hope it's not that way. But Jürgen, is it kind of a win-win for you tomorrow night, or are you fully in the Bodo camp?
No, to be honest, just because this is my childhood club, this team I've followed for all years. Of course, Bodo Glimt, I hope to see in the final. But if Tottenham in the final, I'll be, very happy as well. It is, it's a win-win. You can say that, definitely. I have one of my teams in the final. It's just amazing. Like I said, I have to pinch myself. This is not real,
What difference do you think the returning players might have as well? The players that missed the first leg. Do you think that what difference they'll make to Bodo tomorrow?
Well, Patrick Berg is obviously our key player. He's the one who's controlling the game and playing the ball from the back and especially defensively as well. He does a different kind of job than the players that were there in the first leg, and Håkon Evjen as well. He's the more technical, driving the ball very quickly forward, So those two players they were missing in the first match. There's no doubt about it. So we'll see tomorrow, but I think that Patrick Berg is definitely the one to look out for.
Yeah, I was also watching an interview from a Norwegian journalist, and he was saying a message to the English fans that you won't believe what kind of level of noise 8,000 Bodo fans can make in the stadium. Is that something else that we're going to learn to realize at the game? Because we also had to play under those kind of conditions in Frankfurt, where the Frankfurt fans are just, make a hell of a lot of noise. Is it going to, what kind of atmosphere or is it going to be inside that stadium?
Well, I've seen Bodo Glimt. They made a newsletter that tell everybody Bodo is going to the game. They have to step up and then really be there for this game. So, I don't know what. Of course, it's a different environment than like in London with the stadium and stuff. But it is. It can be very noisy and for players, I think there's a different feeling about it when you play like that. I don't know if you. Playing in playing the lower league teams in the FA Cup, it's more like intense and closer to the pitch, and you can hear people talking to you more. Maybe, I don't know. so I think they're gonna feel it, but I don't know. We'll see.
Yeah. Well, it's going to be a very, very intense game, whether you follow Bodo, whether you follow Tottenham. A massive day for both clubs tomorrow night. What do you think the score's going to be?
Oh, it's a difficult one. My feeling, I think Bodo Glimt's going to get an early goal, and after that, maybe Tottenham is going to try to defend that one goal cushion they have. Then, so I say 2-0, and they go to extra time, and after that, we'll see. Could be penalties. That's my feeling. Maybe penalties, yeah.
Wow, I really hope that's not the case. And I hope Spurs can just get the job done in 90 minutes. I don't know if my heart or my head or anything could take going 180 minutes and penalties. Sorry, not 180 minutes, but can we go all the way in penalties? I don't know if my heart can take that, particularly in that freezing cold as well. I hear it can drop down to -2, -3, -4 during the night.
I don't think you see -degrees, but it's gonna be a bit cold. Like I said, bring a good clothes and a raincoat.
Get some snoods on the players. Get some snoods on.
Yeah. Oh, it's going to be a good game. I hope so, and the atmosphere is going to be good, and hopefully we see the best from both the Bodo Glimt supporters and Tottenham supporters, and the best of luck to both teams from me as well. So
Well, look, Jürgen, thank you so much for coming on. Hopefully, I'll get to meet you out in Bodo. I fly out tomorrow morning, so let's see.
Yeah. Just give me a shout. Maybe we can have a beer before the game.
How much a pint out in Bodo?
Oh, how the currency now? What is it? £6-7 maybe?
Oh, expensive!
Oh, expensive beer.
Expensive pints in Bodo.
Yeah, it is expensive, but it's good. We're
gonna have to bring a 6-pack with you then. I think.
I'll bring my London beer.
I can buy you the first one.
Lovely. Thank you very much, Jürgen. And pleasure speaking to you, my friend.
Nice one, Jürgen.
You as well. Yes, we'll see you guys. Good luck.
See you later.
All right, that was great stuff. Great stuff.
Half Tottenham fan, half Bodo fan, and he's saying
that's a weird combo.
All the way to penalties.
Yeah, I really hope not, because I really believe that if it goes to pens, I'm worried. Because it just gives them that belief that it's meant to be. It's interesting. I'm reading some stats here. Johnny Blaine, our good friend Johnny, who's from Echo of Glory, he's put on some stats from semi-finals of second leg stats from semi-finals since 2009. Only 3 out of 28 teams have won away from home in the semi-final. Only 2 teams have won a tie by 3+ goals, which is Atletico Madrid and
in the
Liverpool.
History of the tournament?
It's since 2009.
Oh, okay.
Which is what? Coming up in 20 years, I guess,
Yeah.
18 years. 9 teams have won by 2+ goals, but only 4 teams have overturned an away first leg deficit, and no team has ever overturned a -2 deficit from the first leg.
Wow.
So we'll be the first team in history to do it, to lose it if we did. Tottenham love.
Why did you have to bring this
records.
kind of stat on here today?
No
Today
team
of
has
all
ever done it.
days.
No team's ever done it. We've been breaking records all season, haven't we?
Yeah, the unwanted ones.
But
But
another
look,
unwanted one.
let's finish off the live stream today going into the predicted lineup. Ange hasn't been speaking the press conference. The press conference is due a bit later on this evening. But what, in terms of the injury news and the team news that we know of, what have we got?
So we know Maddison, unfortunately, set to be out for up to 3 months with a knee injury, which is a massive blow to him and for Spurs. And we obviously wish him a speedy recovery. But apparently he's not going to be fit until about pre-season, which is obviously not great news. But he obviously rules him out of tomorrow. Dragusin seen running on Instagram, which is encouraging, but he's obviously not going to be fit. We know Lucas Bergvall rolled his knee, ankle. He's not going to be fit. Son Heung-min is in a what's called a race against time to be fit for this game, but the last we heard is he's probably not going to make it and more likely to make the final. More positive news though, it looks like Dom Solanke is going to be fit. He was seen on the plane traveling to Bodo with Ange saying he's confident he's going to be fit, and he said the medical staff are confident he's going to be fit for Thursday. So still, I guess it remains a doubt, but I think he should be all right, Dom Solanke, for tomorrow.
All right, so that's the team news going into it. Let's go into our predicted lineup. I think the team pretty much picks itself, to be honest.
I think there's probably one decision to make, but I think it's going to be more of a 4-2-3-1, I would say, tomorrow. But yeah, there's probably one decision to make. But we'll obviously Vicario in goal.
Yeah. No Kinski shouts this time.
He can't.
Oh
He's
yeah,
ineligible.
he can't, yeah. No Brandon Austin shouts this time. No, Vicario obviously goes in goal. And look, in the league he hasn't been great by any stretch of the imagination, but let's just hope he can pull a performance out the bag tomorrow night, because I feel like he's going to be definitely needed tomorrow night. So Vicario in goal. Right back, obviously going to be Pedro Porro. He was insanely pivotal in the first game, massively involved in 2 of the goals we scored. And I just feel like in this game he will be missing James Maddison.
He will, but the guy's in great form. Set pieces, he's been brilliant recently. His crossing from deep has been great. If you notice, actually, I was looking at his average position against Bodo in the first leg, and he was very deep, didn't get too forward. Yeah. And it works because he just has such a great ability on the ball to go forward and to to go long. I mean, he's got unbelievable quality, and I think he uses that best when he's in that position, when he's got time and space on the ball to measure things up, and I think he's going to be doing the same. But yeah, Maddison's going to be a big miss. Hopefully someone else can kind of step into that kind of making late runs role.
Yeah. Pedro Porro right back. Right centre back will be Cuti Romero. Look, hasn't been great in the league when he's played in recent weeks, but in the Europa League he's been pretty stellar, to be honest. So,
yeah.
Cuti Romero definitely at right centre back.
Yeah, and I think him and Van de Ven, who obviously we're going to go left centre back, them together in the Europa League have been great. I mean, how many goals have we actually conceded in the Europa since they've come back into the team? I think 2 goals maybe. They've been doing very well. What was it? RZ away, Frankfurt both legs in the first leg against Bodo. How many goals we conceded in that?
Did they not play at RZ at home as well? They played both.
Yeah, RZ at home, Frankfurt both legs, and Bodo. 4 games.
Yeah.
And we've conceded what, 2 goals?
Yeah, 1 against Frankfurt, 1 against Bodo.
1 against. So 3 goals in 4 games we've conceded. Like our defense has been pretty tight, I think, in that time. So I'm confident them two together should be good, should be all right in this game. But hopefully Van de Ven, I don't think you'll have to make too many runs in behind. I think we'll probably be restricting the space in this one.
I don't know, man. I think he is going to have to put those hamstrings into use in this game, because I think they're going to put us under untold pressure. And
I'm saying I don't think we'll be high line. I don't think our line's going to be so high.
Look, we'll have to wait and see. But I still think that, look, they're going to have their work cut out for them. Let's just put it that way. And at left back will be Destiny Udogie. I think, again, like every time he stepped in the Europa League, over the 2 legs against Frankfurt, I thought he was amazing, to be honest. And I think the first leg against Bodo had a really good game. So really had the beating of their fullback, to be honest. And if it is the same fullback, I think he might be licking his lips.
Yeah, for sure. And I think he's going to have a crucial part to play due to his unbelievable physical traits, his ability to dominate on the kind of fullback area, get forward. It's almost like Porro hangs back and Doggie's given a bit more license to get forward and use his dribbling ability. And he seems to be staying a bit more wider as well, I've seen lately, whereas Porro's drifting in a bit more. So I think it's been working. I think the Doggie's been getting back to his best recently, and hopefully it carries on.
So moving into the midfield, the first player that we're going to speak about is Rodrigo Bentancur. Was nicely rested in the weekend against West Ham. He has been on such great form, particularly in these Europa League games. I think, again, over the both legs at Frankfurt, I thought he was probably our best player over the course of both those legs, and had a very good game against Bodo in the first leg as well. So he's going to be pivotal for us.
Yeah, agreed. And hopefully the rest would mean he's really fresh going to this game. I think, as you said, in the Europa League, he's been brilliant in the last few games in this run. So there have been flashes of him getting back to his best. Obviously, rumours of a new contract. We still don't know what's going on with that. But if he carries on this form, he's going to dominate in that centre. And I think him and the person we're going to our next can be so crucial when it comes to making sure Bodo aren't basically playing for us and aren't getting those little intricate patterns of play which they like to do. I think Bentancur is so crucial at breaking up the play, so he's going to be massive.
Yeah, alongside him we are going for Yves Bissouma, which is an interesting one, because in the build-up to the first game against Bodo, when we started hearing about Bergvall, we were in the pub and everyone's like, who's it going to be? Is it going to be Sarr? Is it going to be Decky? Nobody gave Bissouma a hope in hell to start the first game. He seemed to have been kind of cast aside by Ange, only being really used when we want to rest players. Thrown in to our biggest game since 2019 in the first leg. And I thought him and Bentancur struck up such a great partnership, broke up so much play in the middle of the park. So we're going to need to have a similar performance from him that we saw in the first leg. Definitely what we saw from him in the first leg was his best performance of the season. Yeah,
and I think it helped that they played a bit of a double pivot rather than one in the 6, one in an 8, which I think maybe when they've played together before, it's usually been, I think, Bissouma in the 6 and Bentancur in the 8. And I don't know, the balance doesn't seem quite right a lot of the time. Something seems a bit off in those scenarios. But I think them together in a double pivot really kind of worked. And it made sure that we really dominated those central spaces. I think them being closer together as well just made the pressing a lot better and made sure that if one lost their man, it was picked up very, very quickly rather than big spaces to kind of run around and cover, essentially. So I think Bissouma and Bentancur, hopefully they carry on their partnership from the first game. And look, Bissouma, we all know that when he's concentrating, when he's in the mood, he's a good player. And we've seen it before in the Tottenham shirt. And maybe in these big high pressure games, I know in big games before he's let us down, don't get me wrong, but Maybe the fact that maybe he knows he's leaving, he knows this is his final chance to do something special at this club, and he just needs to really turn it on for a few games before he probably leaves in the summer. Maybe it's going to unlock just a few more good performances before he ends his time at Tottenham. So hopefully Bissouma can see out his Tottenham career on a high, and obviously started on the first day against Bodo, and hopefully carries on here.
Yeah, absolutely. So double pivot of Bentancur and Bissouma. In the 10, it will be Dejan Kulusevski. Maddison's out, Bergval's out. So he's the only real option unless you want to play a midfield three of Bentancur, Bissouma and Pape. But I just feel like there's just not enough creativity there. We need an out ball. We need someone that can drive the ball up the pitch, a good ball carrier. And Dejan Kulusevski, on his day, when he's on top form, he definitely is that. At the beginning of the season, we were talking about him as one of the best attacking midfielders in the Premier League. Obviously, as the season progressed, that hasn't really worked out that way in terms of current form. And since he's come back from injury, he hasn't really shown anywhere close to those levels. But in this game, biggest game of the season, we really need Decky back to those levels.
Yeah, hopefully the fact he played 90 minutes on the weekend would have done him a bit of good in terms of just getting back up to speed physically, where it seems as though he's been kind of catching up his fitness. And there's no doubt about it, he hasn't been great since he's come back from injury. He hasn't come back into top form. But maybe that's why he kept him on for so long. Maybe he just wanted to get as many minutes into him before this big game as possible. We know he's got unbelievable mentalities. Many, many times he speaks so well. And hopefully, with the game of this magnitude, of it being so big, hopefully it unlocks something in him and he gets back into the kind of form we were seeing earlier in the season, because we know that in that kind of form, he's a formidable opponent and he's hard to stop. And it's such a shame Maddison's missing, because I thought he was in brilliant form and he was just hitting his stride as well this season. Like, he was starting to perform pretty consistently, pretty good. Like in big moments as well, in big games, he was really showing up. So he's going to be a massive miss. But hopefully Decky, if he can show anything like his early season form, hopefully Maddison won't be missed too much.
Yeah. Moving on to the front line, in terms of the right winger, I believe it's going to be Brennan Johnson. And I also think it's the right call as well. I know, there's a lot of things around Brennan Johnson when he's not scoring, he's not doing much. But we just need people that can put the ball in the back of the net in this kind of game. We need results. It doesn't really matter the way we play as long as we get the result. And I feel like with Brennan Johnson, obviously he popped up with a goal in the first leg, and let's hope he can do the same in this second leg. And, 17 goals this season is not to be sniffed at. And I don't think you can leave a player out that scored that many goals this season in a game like this where you just need a goal.
Yeah, agreed. And we know that one goal can make the difference. And especially the fact he got a goal in the first minute last game. Hopefully we can stop the game in similar fashion, although that'll be unbelievable. I don't think it's likely. But as you say, 17 goals in all competitions this season. The guy knows where the back of the net is. He has started all our big European games so far this season, apart from maybe the RZ one at home. He's been the one regularly called upon and relied upon by Ange. Got rested on the weekend as well. I do think he comes in from the start. And look, whatever you want to say about Brennan, whatever you want to say about how good you think he is, what you can't deny and what you can't argue with is his goal tally. And that's why he's in the team.
And you know what as well? In the second leg against Frankfurt, he did such a good defensive job helping out Pedro Porro on that right-hand side. And we're going to need a carbon copy of that performance going into this game. At left wing, we are going to look at Richarlison, in my opinion. I think
it might be Tell,
You think so?
Why
do you think that?
Because I think, first of all, Richarlison, obviously played, I know Tell played on the weekend as well, but Richarlison played an hour, was taken off. But I just feel, well, I'm trying to think if I want Tell, if it's going to be Tell. But I think in this kind of game, obviously, Richarlison was taken off at half-time last time. He said it was for a tactical reason. But I think in this kind of game, when we're away from home, obviously, Tell did play away at Frankfurt, didn't he? And he played quite well in that game. And I think in this game, for me, I think we're going to want one of Solanke or Richarlison on the bench so we can bring them on. I think it's a mistake.
I think that's more you than maybe what Ange is thinking.
I think he might be thinking that as well, because I think it really hurt us a lot, and it's hurt us all season when we haven't had that focal point and we haven't had that target man to aim at. And if we start, I don't know if Solanke can play 90 minutes. He's a doubt for this game. And also, if we start Richarlison on the left, and then if Solanke can't finish 90 minutes, it means either putting Richarlison up front, and you have to rely on him to play 90 minutes, or putting Tell there. And I don't think Tell there would work. And I think it hasn't worked anyway. So I would much rather either we start one of Richarlison or Solanke up front, and then we can change it with like 20 minutes or half an hour to go when one of them is waning. Whereas if we start Richarlison on the left, there's a good chance we're going to have to take both of them off with a good amount of time remaining, and I think that would be a mistake. And I think especially for the last stages, not only would we need a focal point, but also set pieces. We need a big aerial defender there, and we would want one of Richarlison or Solanke on for till late in the game. And I would just worry if we start Richarlison on the left and Solanke, we start both of them, that late in the game we're going to have neither of them, and we could be paying for that.
The thing is, I don't disagree with you, and I actually agree. If I was picking the lineup, I would go for Tell on the left hand side. Not only because I feel like he's a better left winger than Richarlison, but I also feel like he's more of a threat in behind. And I think Bodo will be playing a bit of a high line, and I think maybe if you can get Tell on the kind of the last defender, he can maybe supplement a bit of maybe Maddison's late runs into the box from that left-hand side, and maybe show what Sonny, he's not going to show exactly what Sonny's been showing, but that kind of attitude on the pitch. However, I just feel like with the way we started the game and Richarlison playing such a pivotal role in the opening goal and the way he started the game and his sheer work rate from the front, I just feel like Ange might just persist with Richarlison here. And he does such great defensive work as well, Richarlison.
But actually thinking about it even more, he said he made a tactical decision to take off Richarlison and put Tell on at half-time because he felt like the game would open up a bit more and that would leave space for Tell. And based on that, is the game not going to be quite open in this one, because he knows that Bodo needs to come out and they need to start strong and they need to win. And maybe he might feel like on that basis, Tell from the start, because he feels like the game state might be similar in terms of Bodo coming out a bit and that game being a bit more open because of the nature of the game. Maybe that'll lead to him leaning towards Tell rather than Rishi.
I hope so. I mean, that's what I really hope. But
I just judging by what he says, I think it might lead towards Tell.
Yeah, it's hard to go on what people say in certain moments of time, especially if they want to give out tactical information, particularly, leading into a second leg. I don't know. I just feel like the work rate that Richarlison gives you, I think that's what he's going to want. I know Tell also gives good work rate, don't get me wrong, but I feel like Richarlison is just an extra level of kind of defensive work from the front, and I think that's what we're going to need.
All right, we'll go Richie.
I want to see Tell, though. Me personally.
I think he is going to go with Tell.
I want to see Tell.
I think he's going to go with Tell.
Up front is obviously going to be Solanke then.
It will be Big Dom, and hopefully he's not kind of struggling too much with this kind of quad injury going into it. He was seen on the plane going to Bodo. So look, I guess we don't...
People saying in the comments saying Richarlison hasn't travelled.
You what? Is that true? Who said... Is that true?
Has Richarlison not travelled? Apparently Son and Richarlison... Well, we know Son is not going to be in the squad, but apparently Son and Richarlison haven't travelled.
Let me see. Richarlison. I haven't seen anything on it. Maddison. Well, Richarlison wasn't in the. He wasn't in the plane video. People are saying. Well, we haven't heard anything about being injured, but yeah, I
the
guess
press conference is a bit later, isn't it?
Yeah, I guess he wasn't seen on the plane, and if he's the only one,
if that's the case, let's go for Tell at left wing then.
Well, I guess we don't know for sure if he hasn't travelled or just wasn't on this plane video for one reason or another. But I guess if there's no one else not on the plane video, then there's no reason for him not to be there. Even Kinski's there, and he's ineligible.
Yeah, so I think let's go for Tell at left wing.
We did go off early, didn't he, Rishi? Against West Ham.
Went off with 20 minutes to go.
Yeah. Okay. Well, look, we don't know for sure if he's injured or if we just want him in that video, but based off the fact that he's not in the video, I guess we'll change it to Tell instead of Rishi.
Yeah, and I think that kind of brings a better dynamic to the team anyway, in my opinion. I said before that I would like to see Tell start over Richarlison, but I just felt like Ange would have gone for Richarlison. But look, this is the lineup that we are going for Vicario in goal, Porro right back, Udogie left back, Romero and Van der Ven in the centre-back positions. A double pivot of Bentancur and Bissouma with Johnson, Kulusevski and Tell just behind Big Dom Solanke. And yeah, I think that is definitely probably the strongest lineup we've got to place. I mean,
a lot of people are saying we should go maybe to a back three for this game.
Yeah, I wouldn't be against it, to be honest. I wouldn't be against it to have Danso in there because I think Danso, he's been playing at a really good level recently, and his aerial ability is a lot better than probably what we see from Romero and Van der Ven as well.
What would you do, Tay, if you were to do it? Would it be take out Decky?
Yeah, that's what I would do.
Yeah, but then I just feel like we might be penned in a bit too much. I guess if you get Porro and Udogie a bit further forward, maybe they provide a bit more attacking threat. But you look at that like Bentancur Bissouma midfield with Johnson, Tell, Solanke.
If we were to go three at the back, I might, even think about playing Kulusevski instead of Brennan Johnson
on the right.
Yeah.
That would look a bit better actually. I would say to play three at the back. That's maybe what I would do. Because Decky, Tell and Solanke has that bit more quality than Johnson, Solanke and Tell, with Porro coming forward, and you got those crosses from deep. Yeah, I don't mind it. Maybe he'll do it, but
I don't think he will.
I don't think he will, but you never know. Maybe he'll spring a surprise. It'll be a big decision to do it though. Big call.
Absolutely, but look, big games call for big calls sometimes, and if we were to go three at the back, that would completely throw them off because we've only done that once the whole season. And they wouldn't expect it, that's for sure. I wouldn't be against it, but I think this is what we're going to go for. The lineup that we've just discussed. I think we're going through into the final. I can't sit here and believe anything but that. So, big night tomorrow night in Bodo, in Norway, in the Arctic Circle. Biggest game since that second leg in Ajax since the final against Liverpool in 2019. So let's just hope we get the job done, guys. I'm starting to get nervous. I started off the stream saying I'm not so nervous. I'm ending off the stream saying I'm very nervous, but I'm confident that we can get the job done.
Yeah, just let's hope these injuries haven't come at the wrong time. Bergvall, Madison,
well, they definitely come at the wrong time.
Well, if we get through, if we get through, let's just hope they don't prove costly because these players were the players that, especially Bergvall, Madison, seemed like they were dragging us through these ties, and them being out is a massive blow, and they're going to be missing for the final as well. So going to have to do it the hard way, but we have to believe. We have to believe we can go there and get the job done. There's no reason to feel like this is an impossible task. We can get there. We should be able to make it through. We are favourites to make it through. We've got a 2-goal lead. Bilbao awaits, and let's just go there and get the job done.
Exactly, and no one has an easy semi-final. Let's be real. It's a semi-final of a European competition. It's never easy for anyone, but we've put ourselves in a good position, taking a 2-goal lead there. Let's go and finish the job tomorrow night out in Norway. Got Sim on the watch along tomorrow. Is it with Danny?
Yeah, at the moment, yeah.
With Danny, potentially some more people coming to join them as well. I am traveling out to Norway tomorrow morning, so I'll be in the Arctic Circle. I'll be bringing home a place in the final. But thank you, everyone, for joining us today.
Doing on the ball?
Oh, they're on the ball. Sorry. Yeah, on the ball. So we're going to do some predictions as well for you guys going into the weekend. How could I forget? All right.
Don't forget your passport, someone said. Artist.
All right. On the ball. Predictions, Premier League predictions going into the game this weekend. Me and Sim have a scoring system. It's 5 points for a completely correct scoreline, 1 point for a correct result. Star man, once you pick that man, you can't pick them again for the rest of the season. 5 points for a goal, 2 points for an assist. Scores on the ball, on the doors are 349 to Sim, 372 to me, with 3 game weeks left to play. And first up is Fulham against Everton. Sim's gone for 1-1. I have gone for 1-0 to Fulham.
Yeah, I actually had 0-0 and I changed it last minute to 1-1, but I think
last 2 games against this opposition, these opponents have both finished 0-0.
Yeah, maybe I should have gone 0-0, but I just felt like both teams would get a goal. I think obviously this might have the feel of a late season kind of end of season game because with nothing to play on it. I know Fulham is kind of still chasing Europe. Everton being the draw specialists as well.
They're well in the mix.
Yeah, they are well in the mix, but I don't think they're going to get it. I think they're going to play against an Everton side who are well drilled, tough to break down, and they're going to struggle to do it. So, and I think Everton will get a goal from somewhere better or something, scramble a goal home. I've gone for 1-1.
Yeah, Everton with 1 win since they last beat Crystal Palace in mid-February. So not on the greatest form, but they have had a lot of draws in there as well. Fulham, I feel like at Craven Cottage can get the job done. I agree with you. It's not going to be a game for the neutral, but I think Fulham will just have enough just to get over the line at Craven Cottage. They lost to Chelsea last time out. Before that, they beat Liverpool. This is at Craven Cottage, 3-2. So I think they'll have more than enough to just about get over the line against its Everton side. So I've gone for 1-0. Next up is Ipswich against Brentford. Tim's gone for 3-1 to Brentford. I've gone for 3-2 to Brentford. You're seeing with Ipswich, they're starting to score a few goals of late, and Brentford, all season they've been involved in these kind of games, toing and froing, and I feel this one will be no different. I feel like Ipswich will give as good as they get, but I think Brentford are just going to have the more quality on the day with the likes of Wimbuemo, with the likes of Wissa, with the likes of Sade, who's obviously having a great season as well. So I've gone for 3-2.
Yeah, I went for 3-2 initially, and again I changed it last minute to 3-1. So hopefully,
like double guessing.
Yeah, hopefully it pays off in my favour. But yeah, I think Brentford in great form. 3 wins on the trot, unbeaten in 5, making a late surge for Europe with a 1 point behind Bournemouth, relying on obviously City winning that FA Cup. But they're playing very well at the moment, Brentford. So I think as much as Ipswich are having a bit of a kind of one of those periods where the pressure's off and they seem to be playing with a bit more freedom, I do think Brentford, good defensive side, on their away from home on their day, can kind of limit the opposition. So they like to play on the counter. I think they'll do the same, and I've gone for a
Manchester City, and yeah, I don't really think this needs too much explanation. Man City playing very well at the moment.
Sorry, 1 second. It has gone quiet. 1 sec, sorry.
What's going on?
Yeah, sound cut out for some reason. All those levels coming through. Just can't hear anything.
Okay. You're back, it says.
Can you hear us, guys? Yeah, they can hear us, they're saying.
Okay. Mike. Yeah, all good. Keep going then.
All right, moving on to Southampton against Man City. Sim's gone for 5-1. I've gone for 4-0. All in the favour of Man City, and I don't think this needs too much explanation why, but Man City playing well at the moment. They seem to be winning every game. They really are hot on the heels of even Arsenal at this moment in time in second, and Southampton on their way to being probably one of, if not the worst, Premier League side of all time. So,
yeah, and I think obviously Man City need another victory to get over the line and get into that top 5. They're within touching distance, and I think it should be comfortable in this one. So I think 5-1 to Man City. I think it's going to be easy. Does it? I just went for Southampton to get a goal, but City to get an extra one as well. So, and Haaland might be back as well, wouldn't he?
He was on the bench last game. It remains to be seen if he's going to start, but I do think he'll come on if he doesn't start.
Yeah.
Next up is Wolves against Brighton. We've both gone for the same scoreline here in 2-1 to Wolves.
Yeah, and I think the way Wolves kind of set up their back three and the way they counter-attack, I think it's going to be kind of perfect to play against this Brighton team who have been in very mixed form. They obviously last week they got a decent draw against Newcastle, pretty good result, but they've been in very patchy form of late, haven't they, Brighton? They were playing really well and then lately not so well, and they haven't quite got the balance right, I felt, between being too open and not, and I think Wolves could exploit that. So, yeah. And Wolves are in great form, so 2-1 Wolves.
Exactly, before the defeat against Man City last time out, there were 6 wins on the bounce, Wolves. So, I mean, credit to them for their end-of-season form. And, they very easily could have got more out of that Man City game as well. So, Wolves are playing very well at the moment. So, at home at Molineux, I think it'll be a really interesting and exciting game, to be honest. I think there'll be chances at both ends. But I think Wolves will just about get the better of this Brighton side. So I've gone for 2-1. Bournemouth against Aston Villa next. Sim's gone for 2-2. I've gone for 1-1. I feel like Villa away from home are just not the same animal as they are at home. Bournemouth, starting to get some decent results again now, obviously beating Arsenal at the Emirates last time out. But I feel like Villa obviously have a lot to play for. Bournemouth, chasing Europe still themselves. So I feel like both these teams might cancel each other out a little bit.
Yeah, I think it should be a good game of football. I know Villa kind of need the win because if they're going to get into that top 5, they need to be getting all 3 points with them kind of lagging behind Chelsea at the moment, 3 points behind. That could leave them to be going a bit too open. And Bournemouth, as much as they've not been on the best form, they've obviously got a great win against Arsenal at the Emirates, and they are kind of unbeaten in 5 games now. So maybe their form isn't that bad, albeit 3 draws in those games and not great draws, some of them as well. So I think at home it's going to be quite an open game. We know Bournemouth like to play with a lot of chaos. We know Villa can play with that high line as well. So I think it could be quite open with a lot of chances at both ends. But I've gone for 2-2.
Newcastle, Chelsea up next in a big game in the terms of the top 4 race. I've gone for 2-1 to Newcastle. Sim has gone for 3-1 to Newcastle.
Yeah, I think Newcastle at St James's Park, they're in unbelievable form. They've been kind of taken on all comers. And I think Chelsea are going to be the next to come and struggle. And I think Chelsea are in good form at the moment. I know they just beat Liverpool at Anfield, but going to St James's Park, I think it's going to be a different kettle of fish for them. And I can see Newcastle, who obviously, again, need probably another, they're right in the mix of that battle for top 4, top 5. I think Chelsea are going to struggle to overcome their intensity and the way they kind of counter-attack against teams of Isaac and Gordon and Barnes. So I've gone for 3-1 to Newcastle.
Yeah, it's an interesting matchup, this one. Chelsea actually in better form than Newcastle right now. I mean, Newcastle 1 win in their last 3. Chelsea have won 3 on the bounce. And I've been quite surprised by this late season surge by Chelsea. I thought they were down and out and they weren't going to get the top 4, but they're looking like a really good bet for top 4 now, Chelsea. Newcastle, obviously, with the draw against Brighton and 2 weeks ago, they got absolutely hammered by Aston Villa at Villa Park. I feel like Newcastle just about get over the line and kind of end this this Chelsea surge at this moment of time and put themselves in the real driving seat for top 4. But I do see it being a really tight encounter. And I think both teams, doing some good work in the game. But I feel like at St James's Park, I can't see anything but a Newcastle win, to be honest. So I've gone for 2-1 to Newcastle. Next up is Manchester United against West Ham. Sim's gone for 0-0. I've gone for 1-1. I just can't see either of these teams winning. Obviously, Man U will be on the back of, which probably be a Europa League semi-final win against Bilbao. They're 3-0 up, but I still think it's going to be a taxing game for them to hold on to that lead. I think Bilbao, you'll see a different kind of Bilbao in that second leg, and it will take a lot out of this Manchester United team. And we know that Man U are resting quite a few players in the Premier League. However, I don't think that'll be enough for West Ham to win the game. West Ham are just playing really shocking at the moment. Can't seem to buy a win from anywhere, even against a much changed Spurs side who are losing week in, week out at the moment. They couldn't get anything from. So I've gone for 1-1.
Yeah, I've gone for 0-0. I think United are going to play a bit of maybe a weakened team, and I think they're going to kind of struggle to kind of create too many good quality opportunities. I think it's going to be a drab game. I think it's going to be a game when, similar to the Spurs one last week, where neither side turn up. I think West Ham are going to kind of play their back 5 system as well, match Man United up, and then they're going to cancel each other out here. And I think it's going to be a drab 0-0.
Yeah. Forest against Leicester. Leicester obviously already down. Nottingham Forest doing their best to not get top 4 at this moment in time. We've both gone for 2-0. Massive game for Nottingham Forest. They know they have to win this game if they've got any hope of finishing in that top 5. And I think that's exactly what they're going to do. I think it'll be a comfortable win, 2-0.
Yeah, me too. I think they'll get a goal in that first half. They'll allow Leicester possession without Leicester being able to do anything, and they'll probably get a late killer blow late in the game. So I've gone for a 2-0 win for Forest and a much needed 3 points.
Tottenham against Crystal Palace up next. I've gone for 2-1 to Palace. Sim has gone for 1-1.
Yeah, I think Palace have drawn their last 3. Tottenham, obviously off the back of a Europa League game, we'll have to see kind of who the fall guys are injury wise and all that kind of stuff. Obviously, it will be a changed team, but Palace also focusing on other things with the FA Cup final coming up. I can see maybe a kind of tetchy 1-1 draw here.
Yeah, I just feel like Palace will probably still play their first team, and I feel like they've got enough quality there to hit us on the break, with the likes of Ismaila Sarr playing really well at the moment, Eberechi Eze in his best moment of the season as well, Mateta up front, Kamada, who I think is playing really well of late as well. So I feel like Palace will have more than enough to come to the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium again in a game which really don't mean much for either club, to be honest. But I just feel like Palace are playing that much better than Spurs in the league at this moment in time. So I've gone for Palace to win the game by 2-1. Next up is Liverpool against Arsenal. Sim's gone for 1-0 to Liverpool. I have gone for 2-2 here. I feel like Liverpool, obviously they've won the league, won't mean much. Arsenal, again, their kind of league form is completely derailed at the moment, but I think Liverpool are on the beach. I think you saw that in the game against Chelsea on the weekend, and I just feel like it's just going to be a game of not much quality, but I can see quite a few goals here.
Yeah, I think I've gone for 1-0. I think Arsenal, obviously, it'll be interesting how they get on against PSG tonight. Could tell how much confidence they go into this game. But I think they're going to play a strong team. But I think they're still missing their striker. They're still going to have the same problems. And I think Liverpool haven't been at their best of late. That's fair to say, albeit they've got that league title over the line. But I see maybe not the most entertaining game. I think Arsenal will want to kind of spoil the party a bit. But I just don't see them being at full throttle. And I also think Liverpool probably dominate possession, but I don't think they're going to be at the best as well. So I think you'll probably see a disappointing game, but I think Liverpool just shade it 1-0, maybe a penalty or something.
Do you think Arsenal give them the guard of honour?
They have to. I think it's just one. It's just the. Isn't it just the first game after the title?
No, it's
Is it every time? They should then. Yeah, why not? They should. They will.
It's up to the team's discretion whether they want to do it or not.
I think they will. I don't know.
I got a feeling they're not going to do it.
Well, you know what? They are a bunch of classless
That's what I'm
people,
saying.
so maybe they won't.
Anyway, let's move on to star men, and it's a Manchester City head-to-head. Kevin De Bruyne against Omar Mamouche. I mean, De Bruyne definitely starts, but there is a bit of a question mark over Omar Mamouche with Erling Haaland coming back in.
Well, De Bruyne has just been in great form, and he's been playing so well recently, so I haven't picked him yet, and he's a good chance to play my last ever De Bruyne card.
Last ever De Bruyne card. And your last ever De Bruyne card, my first ever Mamouche card. And Mamouche, hasn't had his scoring boots on recently. 4 games without a goal in recent weeks. And look, I think if he does start, he'll be licking his lips against his Southampton side. So I do envisage if both these players start, I think they both get a bit of a points haul. But you know the way it usually works, whenever we say that,
it's gonna be 0-0, yeah.
Either both of them don't start or both of them don't get anything.
Yeah, usually.
It's going to be like O'Reilly and McAtee banging in the goals or something.
Let's hope De Bruyne. Let's hope if he scores a goal, they don't just not give it to him for no reason.
Yeah. But that is it. That is our Premier League predict the Prem for this week. We'll see you all tomorrow for a massive, massive day for Tottenham Hotspur. Thank you everyone for joining us today. Like, subscribe and comment. And as always, come on the Spurs.